Mr. Tahir Aslam Gora. Mr. Tahir Aslam Gora. Mr. Gora is a Namaste Goraji. I welcome you to our global Hindu conference. Here is a little introduction about Mr. Gora. Mr. Gora is a Canadian broadcaster, editor, publisher, translator, and writer of fiction and non-fiction. He is a campaigner against the dangers of the political Islam and the Muslim Brotherhood. He co-authored The Danger of Political Islam to Canada, in bracket, with a warning to America, exposing how the ideology of the political Islam threatens countries and governments around the world, especially Canada. He was forced to flee Pakistan in 1999 following threats of his life and found asylum in Canada. As a member of Muslim Reform Movement and founder and CEO of TAG TV, he holds progressive ideology and supports freedom of expression. We know all about Mr. Tahir Gora. He's a very vocal about what he wrote about, and he's still talking about it, and he's among us. I welcome you, Mr. Gora, to start your session, and thank you very much for our all audience to be with us for a day-long conference today. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Praneshi. I really appreciate your kind introduction. Actually, I don't have much to say what I wanted to talk today because it's all practical. I have a couple of points I would like to share with all my friends over here. So I call myself proudly a Hindu born in Muslim faith. It's a very, very delicate statement because for me, Muslim is kind of a faith club. Islam is a faith club. But my identity, my civilization, my thought process is all Hindu. Because what I have learned about Hinduism and Hindutva, that is a great synergy. And it's not just the faith, it's everything about life. So I always feel the way I eat, the way I speak, the way I treat myself and treat myself, my relation with the universe is all about Hindu because it's all about nature. So I'm quite hurt when I see so much attack on my civilization, on my Hinduism. So Hindus and Hinduism are the soft targets for green, white, and red nexus, whatever we call them. The question is, why is so? How could we defend ourselves? There are two questions. Why is it so that we are the so soft target by these nexus, and how could we defend ourselves? The answer to why is it so is very simple. We appear to them very easy and soft target. They somehow manage to infiltrate mainstream media, academia, and think tanks. And they think in retaliation, we'll not harm them back. We'll not cry so much, we'll hurt more ourselves. We will react and appear as reactive. But now we have to wake up, we have to be active, rather we have to be pre-active, I must say. We have to defend ourselves, we have to work to present our narrative, we have to come up with building our own new institutions that could set our narrative. The world does not know our narrative. We should invest in building our Hindu chairs in the universities across North America at least. We should establish our own TV channels like Al Jazeera and Turkish TV. We should have our own publishing companies through which we can build our own intellectual class. Our opponents and pseudo-intellectuals portray us just the followers of Hinduism and not worthy of intellectual discourse. We have to exhibit our talent through high end of art and film production. In fact, our dharma teaches us the path of intellectual discourse. We have to take the ownership of art, culture, literature, academia, and media, and so on. When we'll do that, our pseudo intellectual opponents won't be visible anywhere in front of us. So, this is kind of my preliminary and primary thesis. My emphasis always in terms of when it comes to defending ourselves, that how could we strengthen our talents, how could we strengthen our powers, and how could we advance ourselves in the face of our cruel opponents. So that's my primarily thesis, as I said. So I would welcome all sorts of questions if there is any time left for me, and because I want to engage myself in interactive talk rather than giving a sort of a lecture.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gora, for your kind presence among us. And you have really raised a very strong concern, like how we can be united and put our things, our civilization. This is the most living ancient civilization is Sanatan Dharma, or presently like last 200 years or so, call it Hinduism. And we have so much to give to the world. Like we are the preacher of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Like we like everyone is to be our own people. So that sort of philosophy we are grown up, and a lot of cultures has been destroyed over time, but Sanatan Dharma or Hinduism, it is still sustaining. But nowadays we are facing so much of challenges. And you pointed out that we are lacking. We have a good product, but only marketing is lacking. So once the marketing is there, then it flies. We know that. So as you suggested that like Hindu TV, Hindu Press, I welcome to audience for any questions for Mr. Gora to answer, and he likes to be in the question answer style of session. So please come up with your questions, anything you want to ask. He's a very prominent vocal about Hinduism and about interest to safeguard the Sanatan Dharma in our South Asian subcontinent. He's very, very vocal. I know I'm listening him for a long time. He's based in, probably, you are in Toronto, right?
Yes.
Yes, so I was in Toronto too for a long time. So I know you for long, but we didn't talk, but this is a great opportunity. So please come up with your questions. So raise your hand and you will be asked to put your voice so that, it become a very nice interactive session. Thank you. Anyone has any questions? Yes, Nosh Joshi, please go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Yes, I wanted to say in regards to getting into the academic field with in terms of professors and really presenting things really properly from our religious standpoint. I wanted to just make a suggestion, or maybe just pose a question: is have you looked into reaching out to some religious groups? Like I know I'm affiliated with the Hare Krishna group, and I know they have a very strong philosophy that they've, it's been documented well with their acharyas and everything. It's presented well even in the Western countries too. I mean, I think one of the first biggest movements in America from India was the Hare Krishna movement. So it's a nice way to present the philosophy that, that way, and kind of, not like avoid the political things, but kind of present it in a way that really interests other people. So one suggestion, or even like an idea, is to reach out to some of their leadership and see if they would like to give talks or come up to this position of becoming professors. or some kind of a leadership in the academic world. So I wanted to know your thoughts on that, and if maybe we can pursue that.
Yeah, Noshchi, you raised very relevant point. All sorts of Hindu leadership in Canada as well as in the United States. And my suggestion to all those groups is always that we need to set some goals. For instance, I'm a media person, so my primarily focus is on the media. Look at Al Jazeera and Turkish TV model. They are not just like the preachers of Islam or the preachers of sort of some radical ideology. They do their work very strategically, very tactfully. So what they do, they hire like mainstream newscasters. They hire mainstream journalists. If you watch Al Jazeera, for instance, you'll find professional newscasters, professional news hosts, people coming from all backgrounds. And they don't talk about Islam or anything. They just spin the narrative. How do they spin the narrative? For instance, they'll not portray Hinduism as a positive thing, for instance. They'll not say something very negative to Hinduism, but they'll not project it as a positive force. One thing. Secondly, I mean, if you watch Al Jazeera, they don't talk about Islam 24/7, maybe 30 minutes a day, maybe. Otherwise, they present news from Africa, from South America, from Russia, from all over the world, but they have their own spin. I have spoken to very high-end leadership in India, and I always pitch them the idea, always urge them to have their own international television setup. So they understand, but so far, even from the government side, even from the very high top level organizational side, no one has come up with some sort of a modern television idea. We watch our Indian televisions and we see what sort of debates they do. 8-10 people are on the screen shouting and fighting with each other. That kind of so we cannot impress with that narrative our Westerner viewers. I've been to Turkey many times. I've been to Middle East, and the people in Middle East and Turkey, they are pretty much like us. But when it comes to present themselves through their media, they are Westerner. They understand that they have to impress Americans, they have to impress Europeans, Australians. So we do have our big communities here in Canada, here in the United States, Australia, everywhere in the world, and it always sort of disturbs me to see that we spend money on other things, but we don't do sort of money spending investment in media. If you go, for instance, and watch Netflix or any these new media, you would find tons of beautiful beautifully produced, I must say, not beautiful, beautifully produced documentaries, movies that are against us, like the Leela, for instance, the infamous Leela. You go on the Netflix and they portray like Hinduism is like a sort of a very evil thing. And the producers are from our own background. So far, we haven't come up with sort of an idea that we could have made some very delicate movie exposing their pseudo intellectual level. So until unless we don't set our counter narrative, we won't be successful. So Najik, what you said, that if we approach to those organization leaders here in Canada and the US, probably they'll do. But I have contacted them, and eventually we have made our own group. So I believe that it is a kind of a task in our own hand. I mean, if we find anyone who could be a great champion in creating think tanks, we should go and fund that person. If we find anyone who we think can produce wonderful documentaries about our temples, about our heritage, we should go and sponsor and fund that person. So I think this is the practical way. It will go after our sort of religious leaders. Probably they have their own niche market, they have their own agenda. So, and if we ask Bharat government or any other organization, they have their own priorities. I think now the priorities should be set by us and should be funded by us. When I pitch any idea, I always say to my friends, okay, I'm pitching this idea. I am willing to put my first $100 or first $1,000 into it. So that's the kind of a thing we should prioritize. A couple of things. I must say one thing is for sure media, at least one international standard English TV channel. One thing. Second, we should work on establishing one high-class think tank out of United States of America, because US matters a lot. And the third thing, we need some good film producing company based on Western standards. So these are the at least 3 projects I have in my mind. Unless we don't embark on that journey, we won't be able to defeat our pseudo intellectual opponents.
Thank you. That really makes sense. I want to see if I can help you. Is there a way we can leave a contact way we can get in touch with you?
Sure. So I can write my email here, and anyone can write me, and we can in touch, and then we can exchange our WhatsApp number as well. So here I'm writing my email address. Yes, here it is.
Thank you, Mr. Gora. Now, next question, Saurabh Chaudhuri. I think you are the second person waiting in the line.
Sure,
Please.
thank you.
Yes.
Sure,
Please
am I
go ahead,
audible?
ask question.
I'm sorry, actually, yeah. Sure, thank you. So, Mr. Tahir, I just want to ask you that as you already are a media person, and you said that we should have some big name, we should have something which should be like complete Al Jazeera and all. What are my options now? The reason why I ask this question, whenever I open, whenever I look to the news on the TV or on internet or anywhere, what I see is CNN, BBC, New York Times and all. Those are anti-Hindu. Everybody knows them. What are my options as of now? What I see as of now from India, when I look at India, I have this Z News option where I see that this is the only thing which doesn't, which shows the fact. They do not try to glorify Hinduism, but they show the fact. A part of that, there is another TV channel which I recently got to know about, this Beyond, which I came to know is somewhat related to ZTV. Okay, what are my options as of now? What I can ask all my friends or the colleagues or other people at my home whom I can ask to watch those things. And another thing is, I was in this conference earlier, and Omendra was there. Okay, and he told about some foundation. I missed the name actually. So he had the same idea what you just said, that we used to have a team of intellectual. We need to have a group of people, and we need to pump up the money. The funding should be done. That's the main thing what we need. So he gave an idea about a foundation. I missed the name. I'm sorry for that one. So I want your inputs on this. What are my options now, and how can we make it bigger? How can we make even Beyond or Z News bigger? I am now based out of London. Due to some reason, I don't know why, ZTV or Z News website was not even available over here. I was not able to open that website. Was it blocked by BBC? Was it blocked by UK government? You know how these are anti-India, So what are my options as of now? Thank you.
Thank you, Saurabh ji. Actually, I think option is one thing and line of action is another thing. I would say that we should have two lines of actions. One line of action is primarily to use the old institutes. I mean, I say the old institutes like BBC, as you mentioned, like German television, like France 24, even the new ones like Al Jazeera, relatively old is CNN. Young people who have journalistic ambition and who think the way we think should go and join those institutions. We should also make sort of a, work those institutions for our cause. Because what we talk all the time, we say, okay, our pseudo-intellectuals, Islamists, they have infiltrated all those medias, all those think tanks, all those academies. So why can't we do that kind of a line of action? If they can infiltrate to mainstream media and mainstream academia, why people of our thought process cannot infiltrate those institutions? So one line of action should be to have our place in those institutions. I would not say infiltrate, because we say that others have infiltrated. That's why I'm using this terminology. Otherwise, more positively, I would say that we should have our space in those institutions too. So that is a very important line of action. The other line of action, Saurabh, you said that, for instance, TV channels from India, Z, WION, and all those. I mean, like, if I appear on, for instance, ZTV, you will watch it. But I want American to understand my narrative. I mean, ZTV is like वो जो हिंदी का एक ना कि जंगल में मोर नाचा किसने देखा वाली बात, जो हमारा एक expression. The thing is, we have to, according to my first suggestion, first line of action, we should get our space in those big media outlets, in academia, everywhere. And apart from that, we need to develop our own setup. For instance, I developed TAG TV about 8-9 years ago, and Tariq Fatah, myself, and few other fellows. What we did, we created a new narrative. And I was shocked about 12-13 years back when I did my first YouTube show. In those years, even YouTube was new. When I visited India, and I realized that the stuff Tariq ji and I talk even is not being realized many of my Hindu brothers and sisters there in India. Because, for instance, Tariq ji said that why is this road name is Aurangzeb? It's a so simple question. I mean, we cannot have any road or street name on Hitler's name. It's not possible. So how is it possible to have a street, a road name on Aurangzeb, or Khilji, or Temur, and all? I mean, it's just a common sense. And we both were shocked. We were there first time about a couple of years back, and we thought, oh my God, that our Hindu brothers and sisters even don't realize this simple thing. So when we started talking about that issue, then we realized that many fellows from our diaspora, they started doing our line. Now our TAG TV, what I talk, you guys watch, and very grateful for your viewership. But the thing is, this whole conversation is within our own family. This conversation now should go out from our family to the Westerners. And that could only happen not through our television, that could only happen through Western style new television. By the way, as I talk, as I'm suggesting, I have already created the news channel. It's called International News Channel. What I did, I hired mainstream faces rather than sitting on the front, sort of position myself, I'm now behind the scene. I have hired the mainstream Canadian, some American faces. We do have limited resources, but we are furthering that project. So what we do tactfully, what is the spin there? For instance, 8 news, we give 8 news every day. In those 8 news, we give 2-3 news from India. For instance, I'm a fan of RSS, HSS. So we give one positive news about RSS every day, along with the Biden's decision, along with the Boris Johnson some decision, along with the Canadian Prime Minister decision. So that is the way to embed our news in the international news world. So I would say, I mean, our option
Join the
is
meeting.
not available. Our option is available on one hand, mainstream media. We go and take the position. And the other option is to create our own institution.
Excellent explanation, Mr. Gora. You have given like wonderful. Our next question, I see a short name PM. Please.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hey.
thank you. Go ahead.
Namaste, Tahir ji. I
Namaste.
have watched many of your videos, interviews in the past. And today I'm Parnesh ji, thank you, and Richa ji for this conference. I'm a physician in the United States, so the questions were actually kind of related to the previous questions. So my thing is, as we were talking, of course, CNN, BBC, Washington Post, New York Times, everybody, even, recent articles, even, it's like Muslim, somebody offended, they put as a Swamiji, or, always change the narrative. So as you were saying, I understand, we need really, how do we fight such big conglomerates? They're very, very powerful, very rich. That's one question. And the second question is, today also, I had to tell many of my family and friends, come join, and look at the audience. I'm saying, I feel so sad, like 100, at the most 200. We just all talk, but like not really, we preach, but practice is really, it's kind of very sad. So my thing is, how do we, as we were talking earlier, so many groups, thousands of groups, and so many organizations are there, they're doing their own part, well and good, but if we come together, there is always, that's what I said earlier, I put it in the chat, like, there is strength in numbers and the knowledge we gain from all these discussions from each other. So how can we do that? How can we bring, whoever like-minded people together for a better impact? That's my question. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Your both questions are very, very relevant and valid. While addressing the first part, I would say all those big organizations and big media outlets are really powerful. There is no doubt in it. And we need to understand that Brits did not rule the world through their army only. They ruled the world through their media, in fact. If we remember, those years and days when there was no internet, there was BBC everywhere, either in Hindi or in Punjabi or in Urdu or in Mali or in Somali, in every major language. I'm 58 years old today, and I'm listening BBC when I was 8 years old, and there was no internet at the time. So that's how they ruled the world. That's how they are ruling the world. So we cannot, frankly, fight with them. We have to be very strategical and very tactful. We have to get into that. Our younger people should go and get jobs there who have journalistic ambitions. Because in today's BBC, in today's Voice of America, in today's German Deutsche, in today's France 24, other pseudo-intellectuals people have found their space there. Why can't we? We can do that. I happen to work with those organizations as freelance journalists. I understand their mechanism of work. So I mean, when I joined, I don't want to name here. When I joined one of that organization, I was based in Soviet Union at the time. I'm talking back 1988. So when I joined them, I realized that the only thing I need to demonstrate to them that I'm a journalist. So they hired me because when they found that I'm a journalist, they hired me. They didn't care much what my position is on certain issues. The first thing they cared when they interviewed me, when they interacted me, they wanted to know that do I have journalistic capabilities or not. So when I demonstrated those capabilities, they hired me. So this is the same mechanism. I have so many friends already in those big organizations. They are about to retire, some of them. And I chat with them and they say, this is the only way we work. You know, if we, so one thing is to give message to especially our young people who have ambitions in journalism, that go approach them and you'll get definitely, because these days they need more and more people. I know it for sure. This is one way. For the second part, what you said, that with all those organizations we do have, how could we create our own momentum? So I would say that the momentum is a little bit building these days. I can see a little bit momentum compared to 5 or 6 years back, for instance, because now we feel hurt. We feel hurt by every corner, you know, and I mean, like it, I mean, I always feel like, okay, am I target because I love Lord Ganesh? Just because of that fact, I'm a target. So that hurt feeling is kind of awakening us. So the momentum is building. Now we need to build our institutions. That's why I started with the argument that we have to set 3-4 big projects. One, media. For instance, the media I have created recently, International News Channel, I have put myself behind. And it's a not-for-profit organization. I have said to my friends that you run its finances. I don't need to run anything. Rather, I'll give you $1,000 a month. That's my pledge to my own not-for-profit organization. And I have asked my fellows, you please, and some say, okay, $50, some say $10. Every dollar is precious. Every cent is precious for that cause. So that's the kind of a thing. We should have one sort of a Al Jazeera. We should have a kind of a target that we'll have our own Al Jazeera. It's not going to be like Hindu channel. It's going to be regular channel with entertainment, with news, everything. But we'll spin our narrative. We will spin our narrative. So that is one thing. Secondly, we should focus something on in terms of building very modern style documentaries where a white girl is, sort of traveling across India, south to north, and making a documentary of Hindu temples. You know, that's the sign. And like, for instance, and my another ambition, because I'm basically a writer of a couple of novels, you know, if you, I was in another conference, Kapil Sharma's conference, about 2 hours before, and we were talking that even Salman Rushdie and all those, you know, very high-end writers, they even get along with that kind of a leftist and Islamist agenda sometimes. You know, for instance, I mean, I spoke to Rushdie ji a while ago. I said, sir, you was a target by Islamists for so long, but you denounce Hinduism all the time. And it's not because he has his vested interest. Because I'm just giving an example, for instance. He is within that kind of an intellectual class where it is cool to say, okay, cool to say bad words about Modi ji, for instance. It has just become cool. I mean, I'm not here to advocate for Modi ji, it's not the forum, for instance. But the thing is, we Hindus are targeted by every corner because of the Modi ji's government for the past 6 years, 7 years. So the thing is, just one name, Salman Rushdie, matters a lot. When, for instance, Salman Rushdie says in Nobel Prize Committee that there is so much bad going on in India, so only one person's voice tarnish everything. So there are not just one Salman Rushdie, there are dozens and dozens of that caliber. So if we come up in terms of establishing our own publishing company, we can have our own intellectuals of big calibers. But it's all about branding these days. If I would say something, probably 100,000 people would hear my call because of my media thing. If Salman Khan would say, 100 million would listen to it. So it's not about that in democracy everybody is equal to everybody. So we have to build our own brand names in writing world, in journalism world, in film world. So we have to invest in those, and that investment could only be done from America, Canada, and the Western world through our own diaspora, I must say. So that is the kind of a strategy I always share with my friends, and that is the kind of strategy I'm sharing with all of you friends. Because until unless we don't become strategic, we won't be able to find solutions for the problems what we talk every day.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gora. You have shared your strategic view about how to combat this situation and very well explained. Any other question from audience, please? Lakshman ji, please go ahead.
सबको मेरा प्रणाम, राम राम, एंड ऋषि, मॉडर्न ऋषि श्री गोरा जी को भी मेरा सादर प्रणाम, नमस्कार. I call all of you people Rishi and Maharshis of today. So I hope everybody understand Hindi. I'm interventional cardiologist in USA, coming from Rajasthan. So got interested have been interested in dharma from beginning. And there were some questions about Anil Kumarji and everything, what to do ourselves. So I listened one of your discussion with Dr. Rajiv Malhotra ji, and Sri Rajiv Malhotra ji said that be Kshatriya. So he told us 4 points. First, be part of some organization like Chinmaya Mission or something. Number 2, do you reading yourself. So read Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita and yoga books by yourself. I did many of them in last 2 years. And then third thing is that do whatever you can do. So like we go in temple, I sit there and just sing bhajans and Surya Namaskar, and you will be amazing to know that how many, I have like 55 to 60 kids doing Surya Namaskar and bhajans every day. They are proud of saying Har Har Mahadev when they are excited. Instead of saying hey ho hoo ha, they say Har Har Mahadev, So that's one thing. And then I picked the Pustak Seva. So I think Sri Rajiv ji here, Rajiv Verma ji, and many of the senior people are here. Please forgive me if I say something odd, So I picked the Pustak Seva. So in India, we took the Ram Sukdas ji's small Gita, 45 rupees, and I created a concept of Pustak Seva that everybody's birthday, distribute 10 Gita ji. Everybody's marriage anniversary, buy 100 Gita ji, 4,000 rupees, nothing. Go and Pato, Dharma ki seva karo. If you can't do anything more, at least do Pustak Seva. So from blessing of Bhagwan Krishna, my team has distributed around 5,000 copies of that Gita ji and around 500 books, 200 books of Sri Rajiv Malhotra ji here in India, and 240 books of JET Foundation. So Pustak Seva you can do simple things like sitting in and doing Bhagavad Gita sessions. Yes, PMG, very true. Very frustrating. Even your family will not be with you when you do these kind of things, but it's okay. You don't need too many Vivekanands. You maybe need like few of your. See, today we are here because of Gora ji, Rajiv Malhotra ji, Pushpendra Kulshrestha ji. We are here, at least we are open talking. I say I'm proud to be Hindu. I put tilak when I come in morning. And I'm so proud. I explain people like why I put tilak. They sometimes ask me, oh, you didn't put that thing today. Didn't you take bath and didn't do your puja today? So I tell them it's not prayer. I do puja, 5 parts of puja minimum. So, and the last thing, Gauraji, I learned from you guys, I give all credit to you that I'm teaching all the kids in school that do 5 things before you eat anything in morning. 5 things you should identify you as a Hindu. You can pick 5 things. You can do सूर्य अर्घ्य पानी देना है, माला करना है, हनुमान चालीसा करना है, भगवान को तिलक लगाना है, फूल चढ़ाना है. So let's be change ourselves, do it ourselves, and then do it. And I again thank to all of you doing conferences and teaching us in different. And I can't even name so senior people sitting here. I'm sorry for you. So Gauraji, thanks for your inspiration. It's amazing. It's amazing. And last thing, Hinduism Today is wonderful book, wonderful articles. And whole year membership around $200 only for whole life, 20 years or more. So those are the, but thank you very much.
Lakshmi.
Thank you very much to all of you.
Our next question, Mr. Roop Goyal, please go ahead and ask your question. Thank you.
Hello, namaste everyone. And I joined just now, so maybe the question is already answered. And before I answer the question, I'm very happy to receive yesterday by mail my whole set of 4 Vedas. I will just show you by the camera. You see them? These are explanations by Pandit Sri Ram Dharma Acharya of all the 4 Vedas. So I hope to read them over the years because they will take time. But anyway, I come back to my question, and the question is, we are against the Zakat money, which is a lot, and Hindus tend to not give as much to various charities. And if we do give, how do we make it effective? So one is observation, other is second is how do we encourage Hindus to give more, and how do we use it effectively? So any thoughts? I know that these are not easy questions.
Roopji, your question is very invalid. I think the charity focus should be now to building institutions now. As I said earlier, probably you were not in the forum when I was saying that now we need to build our institutions, and that is the best charity.
Okay. Thank you.
Saurabh Chaudhuri. Next question from Saurabh, please. I think
it's not a question actually. It's something which I want to add to what Mr. Roop just mentioned on this one. So Roopji, what I think, rather than doing the charity and collecting the money, how beautifully they do it in Zakat and all these things, no? Why don't we try to empower our people? Why don't we try to empower our people by small meanings? When like I'm based out of UK, and something which I have always observed over here, if a Muslim is booking any cab to airport or to any place, he always books a Muslim. Okay, whether the person is Indian and the person whom he is booking for a cab or some shopping, the other guy is a Pakistani guy. They always go for those people. Here in, why can't we just empower our people? Why can't we have a group of our own people? Like, okay, I'm booking a cab, let me ask our Hindu group over there, like, is there a person who drives a cab over here? If I want to go and buy the grocery over here, why should I go to a Pakistani store to buy the grocery? Why can't I go to a Hindu? And when I say Hindu, and I'm sorry for the next line, what I am going to say, but this is something which I felt over here, something which I saw when I came here in London. Sikhs are not Hindus. This was something which I always had in my mind as a, like Sikhs are part of Hinduism. What I see over here, Sikhs are not Hindus. They do not like us at all. They are more into Muslims. They get married to Muslim people, they get married to Muslim girls, whether they are from Pakistan or some other country. Sikhs are not even Hindu. They do not like us at all. They encourage their people by money, not even giving some funding or the charity. They encourage their own people. If Sikh is booking a cab, it will be a Sikh. If he's buying a grocery, it will be a shop of a Sikh. I believe I'm able to make my point, you know what I'm trying to say. So rather than collecting the money, doing the zakat, encourage our own people. Whether it's a bit costly, if someone is costing, some Muslim is costing me 8 pounds and Hindu is costing me a bit more than that, 9 pound, 10 pound, 11 pound, I'll go with that one. You know what Lakshmanji he was trying to explain earlier, that buy the books and you know, distribute the books. I would say everybody might not be interested in buying the books, you know, but if we are availing any service, we are purchasing something, it should be someone from our Hindu type. I mean, our people or people who are member of this of the group or the forum. So,
Right, excellent,
we want to
Saurabh.
add this.
Like you mentioned very right thing. Like it is a whole ecosystem. It works. Even I have seen also. I have also observed in US and in Canada too. Like when buying something, we must go to our own people. We must go to. There are so many shops are there. We must go. We must buy. Even if I cannot support with money, but I can buy things. I need my necessity things from we can buy it from our own people, as you said, like cab and groceries and anything in that short. We must go and visit our own people. We are helping our community, just supporting their business. Very simple philosophy, nothing. I mean, there is nothing special about it. And we need to empower, as Goraji said, like there are talents everywhere. We just need to pick up and support them with a small contribution of our money and even few good words. That works. I have seen, like somebody is doing good thing, all you need to do just pay it on his back. Then he feels that somebody is supporting me and I am doing the right thing. That also helps. Not always you need to like pay your money or do something. Just giving some good words, good praise, that elevates their morale, and they can do good thing for our Hinduism and to propagate things. And so nice. Any other question? Any of our audience have any questions? Goraji has really given us a lot of good information and good guidance. We must follow as much as we can within our capacity. If there is any Hindu organization, be part of it and feel about it. Sometimes we have a lot of great idea, but idea is just a simple idea unless we put it in effect. And that comes from us. That comes from me. If I have a great idea, let me support that idea by myself first, and then people will join slowly, slowly, slowly. That's what it all about. Like as Goraji said, he came and he started a TV channel 15 years before. I heard a lot of his interviews, a lot of his videos, and it is so mind-blowing that even that opens my mind, like what is going on. So we need to be aware of it. Awareness is the greatest thing, as I feel myself, that we create ourselves and we educate our own people. Just a small talk, small conversation, be up to date, what is going on. That also helps. And spreading news, information, and keeping awareness by ourselves and friends and families. Go to small gathering, talk about it, find some good people, make a group, and start doing your work small. No matter what small, you can do it. So I request any audience, if you have any questions. We are around 76 audience right now in our panel group. So please raise your hand. And yes, I see Shwarna ji. Please unmute yourself and ask the question. Thank you. Dr. Pramodini ji, Shwarna ji, are you there? Okay.
Hello, this is Mahadevan, Swarna ji's husband.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem at all. You don't know that I was also part of the conversation. Very interesting thoughts. I'm a US citizen, but I wear my Indian tricolor on my shoulders. And we have done individually whatever we could, contributing to the greatness of our country in terms of temples, institution, and others. What I wanted to, I'm hearing this conversation, there are 2-3 things I wanted to submit. The first thing is, one is reinventing the wheel, right? Setting up a new institution, getting people, endowing certain colleges. Like I went to Georgia State University. If at some point, I'm a small business owner, I started 5 years back. So if, let's say, 5 years down the line, I'm able to do well, and I'm in a position to endow to Georgia State University, I've already made up my mind what that is going to be. I'm going to mandate certain studies on Hinduism, and that specific center in Georgia State has to own up unless and until they don't want the endowment. So there are ways I feel we can use the existing setup, use some of the most powerful Indians. What I have seen is we do extremely well financially, we do extremely well professionally in whichever profession we choose, whether it is medical, law, journalism in a limited way, or in IT, of course. Why can't we go to the existing leaders of such a largest companies in the world? We can't assume that each one of them would have a leftist thought process. Every one of them talk proudly about their heritage in India, talk about Sundar Pichai, if you would. How do we bring some of these leaders in? Because one thing which I have understood in the US, having lived for 21 years, is dollar talks and everybody walks. So money makes, if Google goes to CNN and says Fareed Zakaria, GPS, which is a pseudo Indian having a global, I watched it for the first 5 years, and then I have boycotted it for the next 10. If they come up and say we have the ability to change the narrative, I think all this news media will change. They all are gasping for money. They don't have the advertising dollars. Trump actually was the reason all of them are in the black now. So how do we, in a small way, all one is helping individually, contributing to local institutions, but how about going and looking at existing leaders, engaging them seriously in an effort to go and change the narrative of whether it's the New York Post or New York Times or Washington Post or CNN or what have you, Atlantic. I think they would have much more say. So I wanted to basically ask you, how do we go about doing it? And in what way can I contribute in reaching out to those people? Thank you again for the opportunity to talk. Great ideas. Bharat Mata Ki Jai.
Very good question. Thank you. Madhavenji.
Yeah, the simple answer to this question, I would say that as the gentleman suggested, to contact already established leaders or the established business people from our own community. So I think we should write them. I have written to a couple of people, but I haven't gotten any reply back. So maybe someone will get reply. So it's all about communication. It's all about what we are looking for, and it's all about what they are willing to extend their help. So that is the, I think, simple answer I can.
Thank you, Mr. Gora. Wonderful response to that question. I think it is all about communication, how we place our arguments like convincingly for them to act what we are looking for. Thank you so much for a nice answer. I think right now we have a couple of questions from Poonam Dhaiya ji. Please unmute yourself and ask the question. Thank you.
Hi, here in Sydney, we have a good morning. So I must say good morning to all. I feel really honored to be a part of this meeting. I'm a lecturer in Sydney, and my question is that most of the Indians, they do not take part. If I send any information related to Hinduism, they say, please do not send to us. We are not really want to involve in that mess. So I feel really hurt, and I do not have any answer to such people. Although I made few people in here, and I motivate them, and they are a part of my team, and I'm so happy and glad to say that. But at the same time, I feel really hurt when people are earning so well and they are doing so well, but they do not have a time for Hinduism. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, madam, your answer, your question itself is very important, but we all have to think deep down to our heart that what appropriate answer should be, because the answer is based on our sincere thoughts towards the noble cause, towards the spiritual cause you are suggesting to think on. I think we all need to be very spiritual in order to understand your noble spirit.
Means the problem is they don't want to listen. They want to talk on any issue except Hindus. That's the main issue with them. But I do not have any like a way to, because that's my, I take it like a challenge. Why they don't want to listen? Can I able them to listen? So this is what I have a question in my mind all the times. Why the people are so heartless? Why they, when they are in Sydney or in America or anywhere in the part of the world, why they are not thinking about themselves as an Indian? I do not understand. That's the main problem.
I think Dr. Laxman Prajapati ji, he's just raising hand. Maybe he has an answer with all the permission from Goraji, Tahirji. He wants to speak his mind. Okay, please unmute yourself, Laxman ji, and if you have any answer, looks like you have something.
Thank you for providing me a platform.
Unmute yourself. Can you do that?
So with kind permission from you, I just suffered the same problem here, same to same. I use my cardiology idea, give them health talks, and then started doing little Surya Namaskar, and then starting reading about yoga, explaining them. At the age of 47, I do 50 to 100 Surya Namaskar, 50 fix, maybe more. My daughter is 13-year-old, does 100 Surya Namaskar. They ask me how that come. Oh, come, we'll talk about Sattvic diet, Rasik, Tamas. So Poonam ji is lots of tamas in people. So we have to get them out of the couch, have them moving, and then go. Now they say, how you look so bright. That's tamas has to go, sattva has to come, and then they start listening all of what we do. So that's my own,
Excellent response.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not really in talking terms with them, although I had very good relation. But since I got their views, I don't want to talk. But that's not the solution. I think I need to push them, because this group is getting wider and wider in my understanding. I got only few people in my list who are interested. That's the that is why I raised this question.
I can do a heart healthy secular talk to start with from the Zoom from here anytime you want.
Excellent suggestion. I think when doctor says something, like I met a doctor in Houston, I asked him very simple question. Doctor, I want to live like 70 years. Say, why 70? Why not 80? I say, yeah, 80 is a good idea. Why not 90? Why not 100? And he went up to 130 years. I said, doctor, you must be kidding. Well, no, I am a doctor. I know. He's a heart specialist. He says that if you have any trouble, always you visit doctor. I don't visit any doctor. I'm myself is a doctor. And he looks very fresh. You know how you see me. I was actually visiting him about some ailment with him. He said, doctor, you look very fresh, very energetic. Well, yeah, yesterday morning at 4 o'clock, I went from hospital. I was doing a heart surgery. And I went there at home and I took my shower. I did Surya Namaskar, Pranam, all the exercise. I feel very energetic. And now I am here. I'm just seeing you. And did you do that thing? No, because that is the problem. You come directly to doctor, but you don't know what to do. So I'm telling you, this is the thing you have to. So that time it strikes my mind. I say, yeah, I mean, doctor, he is looking for definitely patient, but he has a different approach. I like your approach, Dr. Lakshmanji. I think you can help Poonamji about it and her friends in Australia. Thank you. Dr. Pramodini ji, yeah, he has some question. Please
So I
unmute
just want to suggest, I'm a physician also, so I have done integrative medicine. It's like Ayurveda, everything in it. I did internal medicine, I did geriatrics, I am doing integrative medicine, finishing actually this month. So I'm graduating. So that's what part of all this, we do yoga, meditation, mindfulness, Ayurveda, a lot of people are showing more interest now. So as Tahirji, we were talking earlier, so we see more awakening now, more awareness. People are like going back to ancient medicine, like Indian medicine. Now they are saying, our Vedas and all, they don't even know, maybe 30,000 or even more years like old. So people are showing interest. So definitely there is, as you said, part for everybody. Actually, everybody can benefit even with simple things. Like Dr. Lakshman, like Dinacharya, we have every seasonal Dinacharya we have, Ayurveda. Every season it varies, what we eat, what we should not eat, what food we can eat together, what not. So I'm just saying part of that. And I just want to take 1 minute to mention this one. I tell this to everybody. I don't know if you can see it. This book. This is a great book. Actually, it's like a novel. Anybody can read it. Children of Immortal Bliss by Professor Lakshmi Kantam. I put it in the chat, but I recommend it to many of my friends and everybody. It's a really beautiful timeline about Indian, like ancient times, and how people from Africa, whatever, like from India, they migrated all over the world. They say Guatemala comes from like Gautamalaya and all that. But I mean, at least if people can read this, it's very, very enlightening. So I just wanted to mention this. I'll put it in the chat.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank
Dr.
you, thank you,
Pramodini.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much for sharing information. I think this is very relevant that to engage into our heritage and culture. We need to talk about the great things about. And when doctor said, I was totally mind-blowing things happened, that Bhishma Pitama, he survived 250 years without sleeping. And then it strikes in my mind. I say, well, it is possible. Like if we can, like in a brand new car, if I don't drive and very cautiously drive, the car remains as it is. I don't need to take a mechanic shop. But if I rough drive, my car goes away in 3 years. Even same goes with the body. Like if we can handle our body in such a way, and our forefathers has given all the tools needed, all the techniques needed to live our fullest life in all respect. So that here we comes from that heritage, and we need to really engage all our people. We just forgot that science and things like even I am also discovering, I am reading every day. So I suggest to start that habit of reading our ancient culture, heritage, what our forefathers has given to us, and all kind of sciences has been given, and we can rediscover those things. Thank you so much. And I see Govinda Rajji, you please unmute yourself, and if you have any question.
My apology, I have to sign off because I have to go to another conference.
Okay. So maybe one more question we take.
Sure.
Yes, please. Govinda Rajji, if you are there, please unmute yourself and ask the question, because we are almost into our session. Or Anil Kumarji. Anil Kumarji, you are still there? or Aarti ji. I see Aarti ji or Nirupama ji. Yes, unmute yourself, please ask question, because this is the last question we are taking in the session before we conclude. Unmute.
Hello, can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you and namaste, everyone. This is really wonderful to see so many people attending a real global Hindu conference instead of a hate Hindu conference. I think it goes to show that all of us are waking up, and we will not stop until our goal is reached. I want to mention that this is being broadcast live on Via TV, and I've been hearing, I've been on all the conferences, and I couldn't handle being on even one session of the Dismantling Hindutva conference with all the hate that they're spewing. So this is such a positive alternative that is so overdue. However, I'm seeing in the chat box, I'm seeing in the comments that we need media strength. We need to amplify our real narratives in the media. And if we all can pledge to give our donations, our monthly donation, a set amount to amplifying our true, authentic Hindu narratives in a dedicated media show on a dedicated pro-Hindu media channel, then there's no reason why we cannot make Via TV, for example, one of those media outlets for us. But we all need to be invested in this, because we know, Hindus typically generally don't invest money in our Hindu causes. And that is why we were so brutally intellectually attacked this weekend. This is all part of the bigger design to dismantle Hindus and Hinduism. However, my personal appeal to everybody on here is that we all set aside a certain amount every month to sponsor and support media shows and channels like Via TV and others that will help amplify our Hindu narrative. And if anybody wants to collaborate, you should reach out to Ravi Kapoorji, who is on this meeting, and I would be happy to help. We need, especially the middle generation, the Generation X, to wake up. I'm Generation X. I'm not an ABCD, but 99% of my friends and my contemporaries are ABCDs, and we're losing them, and of course, our next younger generations. So I would like to be committed to helping our media outreach and amplifying our true narratives, but we all need to be in this together. And I implore and humbly request everyone to reach out to Ravi Kapoorji and other media outlets that are more mainstream, at least here in America, and it can be made a more international type of channel, but we need to financially be invested in this. Thank you so much, and namaste, and dharmo rakshati rakshitaha.
Thank you, Nirupamji. I think you mentioned your question and answer, everything is there. So we are running out of time for our session. Thank you so much, Tahir ji, for making time for our Global Hindu Conference program. And I really appreciate, on behalf of the organizer, all our participants to this program. Thank you so much. And we request you to do as much as you can do for your Hindu cause. Just get associated with any of the organization of your choice and pick up one subject and keep doing for our community, for our dharma, for our religion, for our belief. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think I really appreciate to all of you.
Thank you for having me. And I agree what Aarti ji just said, and we should work towards that cause. Thank you.
Namaste. Rajiv ji, is there any next session after this? Any session after this? Professor Navendu Pal, Is there any session after this program or?